This is a feeble attempt to capture the uniqueness of an institution which carefully outlined its novel strategies to improve the living standards of the underprivileged and downtrodden tribal people of Odisha. Needless to say, this institution took cognizance of the lesser mortals who lived for centuries in the hinterlands in virtual darkness of the thick jungles miles away from civilization. This is the organization which came to the forefront in the early 1980s to fight against the reactionary forces of the society that were responsible for endless poverty, rampant corruption and harmful inequity in the society, and render justice to the oppressed by giving them their lawful rights and stabilizing their economic and social status. Today, we see the beaming faces in hundreds and thousands of people in the remote pockets of the state who have not only been assured of the basic needs of food, clothing and shelter, but also have been guaranteed their dignity in the society through education, livelihood and fundamental rights. This laudable institution is widely known as Agragamme, the presence of which has been strongly felt in different regions of Odisha like Rayagada, Koraput, Nabrangpur, Malkangiri, Kalahandi, Nuapada, Kandhamal and Mayurvanch. Spearheaded by Mr. Achyut Das, who is the founder director of Agragamme since its inception, Agragamme as a civil society organization stands for the unique values of liberty, equality and fraternity and fights for uprightness, fearlessness and freedom of expression. In order to bring in a sea change in the lives of the marginalized people, it has worked out a series of projects in varied fields of education, food security, agriculture and natural resource management. Agragamme made an extensive survey of the educational environment in the tribal pockets and could realize that nothing could be more effective as an agent of change than education itself. It could see the deplorable situation in the fact that only a handful of ashram schools meant for boys existed in these areas and girls were conspicuously excluded from the ambit of education. Agragamme felt the urgency of the girl's child's education in order to remove the disparity between the boys and girls. Hence, it was specific in establishing schools for the benefits of girls.
पढ़ाशुना करिबु आमे जीवन गढ़ी तोड़िबु आमे घरे गाँरे लोक मुहरे हस फुटाइबु आमे।
As if it was not enough, Agragamme wanted to see that the schools were designed after the Paulo Freire model, which believes in the free-thinking educational strategies, full of activities and participation. Rightly, Agragamme has named the schools as Mukta Jnana Kutir.
ए स्कूल पढुछु
हां
को स्टैंडर्ड
पंचम
क्लास से पढुछु कोन सिखुछु
भाषा कोनी तो
व्हाट्स योर नेम
माय नेम इज निरूपना हम स्कूल रो ना होची मुक्त ज्ञान कुटीर ई मुक्त ज्ञान कुटीर अर्थ होची कि होची हमर छुआ माने इठी बिना खोलारे जेमती पक्षी भलिया आनंद रे उडी उडी जेमती पाठ पढिबे निज स्वाधीन भावरे मुक्त भावरे पढिबे तांकर जोंटा इच्छा सेटा करि परिबे.
Nobody can understand the state of affairs of the indigenous people better than Agragamme when it comes to their poverty, hunger and helplessness caused by natural calamities and the poor distribution system coupled with money laundering which kept them in chains all the time. The question of sustenance is more important than any developmental activities. Money laundering always pushed the people of the tribal section into perpetual poverty.
Dor korduchu, tikra korduchu, jala koruchu, gorde koruchu, kichi pachu nai. No pachuaru, ame ga committee khaachu, bari khaachu, bar man neitilu. I sudi paru nai.
Through a series of meetings with the tribals, Agragamme could raise the consciousness of the people and initiate efficient modern strategies to come out of the tricky traps of the money launderers. It successfully persuaded and insisted upon the villagers to have Kutumba Panthi or community grain bank, which not only eased out the problem of borrowing the seeds from a reliable source, but also sell them from being an easy prey to the exorbitant money lenders. Once the food is secured, it has multiple implications in life. The implication of Kutumba Panthi is very much related to the practice of agriculture. Storage of seeds and buying the quality seeds ensures the increase in productivity. The improved agricultural practices allows for multiple cropping system which enhances the storage of food grains for their consumption and for other developments. Today, people are happy for the establishment of Kutumba Panthi that not only ensures the food security but also helps them go beyond survival issues, investing in education and leading a life with dignity.
गाँव अग्रगामी आसवा द्वारा बहुत इम्प्रूव होती से अग्रगामी को बहुत धन्यवाद तापर आस्ते आस्ते पांटी बढ़े लगे गाँ लोक भी समस्ते टिके शिक्षित होगा गले
Hundreds and thousands of people were evicted from the land and livelihood to produce electricity for the towns and cities far away from their houses, leaving the poor villagers in absolute darkness. The high tension wires went over their heads without affecting their lives in any way. Despite being replete with rich natural resources, people died of hunger and starvation. The promises of various institutions could not guarantee their sustainable sustenance. Even so many decades after India's independence, they faced with poverty, hunger and other kinds of insecurities of food, water, livelihood and energy. Though placed in the lap of nature, Agragamme was not lost to the mere romanticizing of it. The murmuring of the flow of the crisscrossing springs was not a source of mellifluous music. It could see in them the veritable threat to the forest people for their sustainable development. Water is at the center of the life. This Agragamme recognized from the very beginning. It gave high priority to the preservation of the water flowing in the forest land and accordingly took care to construct check dams wherever the high rocks and mountains were available to protect and preserve the water.
We have been very concerned with the energy security of our tribal population. They face many insecurities like food and livelihood insecurities, water insecurities, they have got health insecurities, but on the top of that they have got energy insecurities.
As a sequel to this preliminary exercise, Agragamme planned hydel projects by channelizing the accumulated water down the valley and making it run the turbine and producing the power of electricity, which is fruitfully used by the villagers for lighting the streets and running the power mills. Apart from this, Agragamme also trapped the sunlight as a perennial source of energy and thus lit the villages and households. The people were so overwhelmed by the unexpected gift that they could not articulate the benefit of the changes that it had brought to their lives. But it could be easily discerned from their faces, the half expressions and the unsaid words. Light has opened the doors to the world of knowledge for these people. Now, when the sun sets in the west, the darkness of the villages is receded by powerful gift of light, and it fills all souls with ecstatic happiness and elation, making their houses bright and so also their lives. Agriculture is at the heart of the sustenance for the tribals, but the fragile ecosystem and the undulating upland terrain has been destroyed by the felling of trees and denudation of the forest.
जबर जबर हितले नाइ कि वर्षा खेटबो आषाढ़ मास की श्रावण बोली करी खोइबु नाइ कि सीटा खेटबो आर नाइ कि टिके टिके हितले सरी नाइ कि चैतकु बैसाखकु सरी जिवो.
This has affected most of the tribal districts of South Odisha, leading to chronic malnutrition and ill health. Agragamme, through Ama Sangathan, set up agricultural training centers to rightly advise the use of organic manure and how to make multiple crops and maximize the land uses by planting interdependent plants in the same field. Papaya, beans, cashew nut trees, potatoes and drumstick plants could be simultaneously planted in one single field in the same season. Apart from this, the check dams as well as the rain harvest points became the major source of canals which were guided to glide into the dry but graded fields on the mountain slopes. Ample of border bonds were constructed to arrest soil erosion and washing away with the fertility from the lands. Construction of check dams, which was done with priority, helped avoiding the unnecessary wastage of water. The awareness programs on water harvesting and proper channelization made the people not only self-sufficient financially, but also helped maintain the ecological balance substantially. The watershed projects and check dams supplied water to the uplands and brought the people into action in the agricultural fields. Even the landless became the landowner and put his heart and soul in his own cultivation and strengthened his livelihood. The greatness of Agragamme is that it not only disseminated knowledge amongst the people, but also made them self-confident and self-reliant. It inculcated in them a revolutionary spirit to combat suppression and oppression doled out to them for centuries by the evil forces of the society. By empowering women, Agragamme minimized the social inequality and sex disparity. Women could work and walk hand in hand with men, giving a new dimension to their status. Communities were formed and Mahila Samitis were instituted to discuss problems and decide unanimously on various issues. They fought against injustice and for the equal rights in the society, which gave birth to a new world order. Societies for the first time could see women leaders taking up social and economical responsibilities with much comfort and ease than ever before. All said and done, it could be safely concluded that the Agragamme, led by Mr. Achyut Das, stood as the torch-bearer for the tens and hundreds of Calibans who, by the touch of the magical Prospero, could become vocal to raise their voices fist against the oppressive system of the society and the government. What Mr. Das spoke from the Mount of Kashipur worked as the 10 commandments for the tribals, and they moved into prosperity with a sense of being a proud community. In a nutshell, looking at the colorful achievements, I can safely say that in Mr. Achyut Das and his highly motivated team, we see a happy combination of 3 types of leaders the sociologist envisaged, namely the charismatic leaders, the transformative leaders, and the authentic leaders, all rolled into one. It is he who has given the tongue to the tongueless people. It is he who made them morally strong and fearless. And it is he who gave them the voice to confront the moneylenders and social miscreants. We salute this authentic leader with respect and admiration and wish his endeavor will continue to bring smiles on the faces of millions and millions of people of Odisha and the country as well.
ଯିବାକୁ